30 minutes. The shocking, amazing thing that you didn't know before. Really, honestly, some of this you probably already know. All that we're doing is we're taking little bits and pieces from a bunch of different methods, and we're combining them in a way that actually works for both outliners and cancers. So how many of you are outliners in here? Okay, how many of you are discovery writers? So I'm one of you guys. I'm a discovery writer, and this works for me. And it's hard to find something that works for both of us because our minds work so differently. So I'm going to show you guys both different variations of this method. Hopefully you guys will find it helpful, and hopefully we'll end a little bit early so you guys can ask specific questions. Okay. So this method is adapted from Susan Capeland's blog post on brainstorming, and I've actually moved some things around and emphasized some other things. So it's a little bit different than what you'll read, but if you want to read it in more depth and read her examples, you can go to this site. Does anybody in here want these slides?
Yes.
You're done, so you don't have to write everything so fast?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So I'm going to send around a clipboard for anybody who wants to sign up for my newsletter list. If you want the slides, also put a little star by your name, and I'll send it to you after today's time, if that works for you guys. Here, can you pass this around? There's a second page behind it. Okay. So you guys have all heard about Save the Cat, Hero's Journey, 7 Point. Sometimes those can be restrictive and sometimes they're not detailed enough. So we're going to have fun with a conglomeration of all that stuff. And the reason that this works is because we're going to brainstorm ideas and then arrange it into structure rather than the other way around. Sometimes when you're looking at a box and thinking I have to fill it with something, that can restrict your creativity. But when you're brainstorming ideas and you're throwing up everything on the page and then arranging it keeps you focused as you write, and it prevents wandering, which takes time, but it also actually enhances your creativity rather than restricting it. So we're going to bring to light the most critical aspects of your story first, before you even started writing, which will save you probably months and months of editing, as I But yes, so after 30 minutes, you really honestly can have a rough outline completed. So here's what you need: a notepad and pen, a partner. I recommend that you do this exercise with a partner, and you'll see why in a little bit. Excuse me, and you need a story idea. So a story idea, you probably already had some of those. Maybe you're out in a book, or maybe you've already started on a book. It doesn't matter where you are. In the process, this will still work for you. Okay, so step one is the logline. You hear about this all the time. Don't worry about it. Sometimes, like in Save the Cat, they give you a few lines and then you have to insert meaning, and you have to have certain elements, and it can feel overwhelming. Don't worry about that. This is very rough. No one else can see it. Basically, you're just getting your idea out in more of a structured format. So what you need to do is write down what you already know, and then we'll put it in order. So the name of your character, your main character. It actually doesn't even really have to be, as long as you kind of have an idea of gender, age, type of character, some kind of distinguishing characteristic like age, race, species, whatever it is that you're writing. A setting, we kind of need to know in the beginning whether it's science fiction or fantasy. We need to know if it's set contemporary or across space. You probably already have an idea of that if you have a story idea. We also need some kind of an inner struggle or a conflict or a fundamental weakness. And this is the one that a lot of story structure things skip. And this is a very crucial one. This is actually one that is not listed in the blog post that I showed you because I felt like this was actually one of the more important things to know up front, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. We also need a goal. The character needs a goal, they need a motivation, they need something that they want. And of course you have a roadblock to that goal. So it can be a person, an antagonist who's keeping them from this goal. It can be the environment preventing them. It can be society's rules. It can be the laws of physics. It can be a physical limitation. which is not always the same as an inner struggle and a conflict and fundamental weakness. It can be an event that happens, some kind of roadblock to that goal, and then we need something terrible to happen if they fail. So stakes. We need the stakes. We need a happy state if they succeed. So something that they want, and then a state of their life once they accomplish it. If you have a general idea for these things, you're already halfway there. All we need to do is structure it a little bit. So we're going to put the name in the beginning of this log line. We're going to think of our distinguishing characteristic in our setting. So a 12-year-old girl on the planet, whatever, struggling with, we want their inner struggle. Maybe she's lost her parents, or maybe she's struggling with some kind of past, something dark, something that's happened that's preventing her from fully living. She wants the goal, whatever the goal is that you've decided. But when the roadblock occurs, whatever the roadblock it is, it can be an antagonist, it can be society's rules, all of those things we listed, he or she must overcome the inner conflict and the outer conflict. So you guys have had two conflicts that you've thought of. You have an inner one and an outer one. You have a kind of an emotional struggle and an outer thought issue that they need to overcome before, and then we have our stakes, whatever the stakes are. And then they achieve whatever their final state is, their ultimate happiness, whatever it is that they want. Are there any questions about this? You guys are fiercely writing. Hopefully this is helpful. That's a good sign. Let me know when you guys are ready to move on, because I know this is a lot to write. Are we good? Okay, so let's do some examples. I'm just going to use an example from one of my books because this is already done because I did it when you wrote the book. So Trina is the character, a 16-year-old citizen in an overly regulated futuristic society. It's a dystopian book. And her struggle is she believes in strict obedience. Excuse me. She wants to get a high rating and go to the Raiders Academy. She wants the ultimate life. She wants to be a raider and judge other people and give them all numbers in this number-oriented society. But when her rating ends up being far lower than she expected, she's suddenly prevented from going to the academy, from marrying her boyfriend, from all the things she expected to do. That's the event. That's the thing that stops her from getting what she wants. She must throw obedience aside to take on a dangerous military mission to get her number up quickly before her chance is gone forever. So I just inserted all of those things into some kind of a 2 to 3 sentence log line. It can be pretty loose. It doesn't have to be exact. But as long as you have kind of an idea of this, you got your log line, you got your first step done. Any questions? Some of you look puzzled, or you're just intensely focused. Okay. All right, let's do Ruby, just for fun. How many of you have seen Ruby? Okay, good. So Ruby, here's the log line for Ruby. Kind of. This is one I just threw together. Ruby, a short, forgotten son in a football fan family, wants to play football for Notre Dame. So we've got the character, we've got a distinguishing characteristic and weakness, and his goal. So when his family opposes him and he struggles academically, he must find a courage bigger than his own stature to overcome opposition or face his family as a failure. So we just got all of those things in 2 sentences. When his family opposes him, we got a situation that's hard, he's struggling academically, he must find a courage bigger than his own stature to addressing his emotional struggle. Or face his family as a failure, we got stakes. Any questions about this? Okay, let's just have some fun. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer has a really rough life, right? He's at the North Pole and struggles with his self-worth, dreams of pulling Santa's sleigh someday. We get all of what he wants, we've got his struggles, we've got the character, distinguishing characteristic, right? But when his reindeer friends laugh to call him names, he must embrace the one thing that makes him different in order to prove his worth and finally belong, preventing a Christmas disaster. It's a classic. We've got everything in this logline. It's 2 sentences long. So when you put your logline together, just remember, if you've got all the elements in some kind of order, it's fine. It doesn't have to be strict. Discovery writers don't feel like you're putting it in a box. All you're doing is you're brainstorming some ideas. Okay, so now we're going to brainstorm a little more. This part takes the longest of the 30 minutes, and this is the part that you need your partner for. So when you sit down to do this, all you're going to have to do is tell yourself, I can write down anything I want and there's no right or wrong. Right? So you're going to think of 15 to 20 things that can happen to your character at any point in the story. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be strict to your genre. In fact, the wilder, the better. This is just releasing and unlocking your mind and your imagination. So here's some questions that can help you as you're thinking about these things. How can setting interfere with their goals? What new characters can interfere with their goals? What are those new characters' goals? What are they trying to accomplish that's getting in the way of this character? What's one disaster that could break your story? What is something that could really put a wrench in things and prevent your character from getting what they want? And then what's the absolute worst possible thing that could happen to your character? The absolute worst possible thing. Usually that can address a terrible plot point, but it also usually touches on the emotional struggle as well. You okay to move on?
No.
Not yet? Any questions about this? Are we good now? I don't hear any notes. Okay. So from numbers game again, I just wrote down a bunch of things that could happen. So here's some of the things. She gets a ridiculously low rating instead of the one she earned. She's offered one last chance to prove her worth by joining a dangerous military unit to catch a spy. She bonds with a red citizen, which is like someone who's really low, almost a criminal level in their society, only to watch their arrest, experiencing a little fast life in a painful way. A secret assassin in her military unit tries to kill her. She must face her fear of heights and jump out of a chopper before it's shot down. And the true reason for her rating is revealed. It doesn't have to be in order. These are all just random things that I thought of that would be cool. If you like watching movies, think what would be cool in a movie? What would be awesome? Or I actually, when I'm brainstorming, I like to listen to really dramatic music on Pandora. Does anybody do that? Yeah, it kind of gets your mind working. You're thinking, wait, I'm seeing like explosions with this song. What can explode? So maybe you're like me, you like explosions. So get your mind working. So from Ruby, his girlfriend dumps him for his older brother. Really stinks for him. His best friend is killed at the factory. He keeps getting rejected by Notre Dame for little grades. When he does finally make the team, the coach refuses to let him play. And then his mentor reveals that he was once a Notre Dame football player and left the team, but he regrets it now. These are just some things that you think of that could happen that are really powerful moments. Rudolph, right? His parents try to hide his nose with clay. This is the clay version. You've seen that episode. He flies higher and faster than every other reindeer at flying practice, but that's because the clay nose falls off and his nose is revealed and he has to leave. Terrible moment for Rudolph. He runs away from home to show everyone he's got to find himself. A storm hits and Santa becomes worried that Christmas will not happen. So these are powerful moments in the Rudolph story. So if you get stuck, bouncing ideas off of a partner is very helpful. I like to use my critique group sometimes instead of presenting stories. I'll actually say, hey, can we brainstorm for a second and stuff about this? And I've found some of my very best ideas from this exercise with my critique group. And the thing to remember is the more wild the idea, the better. It doesn't have to be something you've read before. In fact, usually the first things you think of are the things you've read before because that's what you're accustomed to. You're thinking of what the genre usually requires. But if you get past that, that's why we want 15 to 20 things. Is because we're getting past the things you would normally see and into the more creative stuff. And I would say also, this is my addition, make sure that at least one of your ideas involves the character facing that deep. fundamental weakness and questioning who they want to be or who they need to become. We usually call that something like a mirror moment, something where they're questioning themselves. So if at least one of those is happening in there with all of your powerful plot points, that's great. You can even plot more than one thing. Okay, step 3. This is where it gets really fun. So put an asterisk by the 5 scenes that are the most intense. They don't have to be violent intense. It doesn't have to be explosions. It does need to be something that's a powerful moment. So it can be a first kiss in a romance. It can be something that reminds the character of something that happened in their past and is ultimately very painful for them. It can be a lot of things. What's one is the most intense and the most powerful, not necessarily the most flashy moment. So in Numbers game, she gets a low rating instead of the one that she earned. That's an important moment because it twists her future. She's offered a second chance to catch a spy in the military. That's a powerful moment because she has to make a decision. Someone tries to kill her. She must face her fear of heights. That's an important moment too because it addresses her emotional struggle. And she discovers the reason behind the rating and who's trying to kill her. That's actually a twist in the book. So Rudy, his best friend, is killed at the factory. He finally gets admitted to the school after years of work, and the music swells, and we all cry, and it's a powerful moment. He convinces the coach to let him join the prep team. That's a victory. It's very powerful. After the coach promises Rudy a chance to dress, a new coach comes and refuses. That's another very powerfully, emotionally powerful moment. And then at the end, the part we all know, Rudy finally gets to play in front of his family. The crowd chants, Rudy, Rudy. That's a powerful moment for us as well because he's accomplished what he wanted. Yeah.
I think the most powerful moment in the entire film for me was when, sorry, it's going to hit me now, when the first player comes into the coach and says, "Coach,
Yeah.
here's my jersey. I want Rudy to play my place."
Yep. I love that part too.
And all the others do the same.
Yeah, a lot of
Yes.
really powerful moments like that in Rudy, which is why I thought this was a good example, is because someone faces incredible odds. I mean, what are the odds that a poor, short kid is going to be on the Notre Dame football team that he's always worshipped? But somehow he makes it work. So, okay, we kind of talked about this. The scenes can be intense in 2 ways, action and plot, or outer conflict and inner conflict. But make sure that you have both in your list. You need both. A lot of plotting systems address the plot, only the outer struggle, and that's why sometimes we fall flat when we follow that outline, but it lacks heart, it lacks flesh, kind of. That's what's happening, is that we haven't addressed the inner conflict yet. So if you're brainstorming both, that'll get the juices flowing and you'll actually have a much more strong first draft. Okay, step 4. So after you've done steps 1 through 3, you have the most intense scenes written down. We're going to number them. So I would recommend 5 to 6 that you're going to choose, and you're going to number them 1 to 5, 1 being the most intense. We're not talking about flashy again, we're talking about emotionally powerful moments. And also make sure that at least one of these is doing the facing weakness, who am I moment, questioning self moment, because we're going to need that. And remember, this number of 1 to 5 is not the chronological order. This is only most intense order that we're doing right now. Order of intensity and impact. Any questions yet? Yes?
When you have a story that, essentially follows the stories of like several different point of view characters, do you need to do this for each character?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that is why it is so hard to have multiple characters, is because we have to address these things for all of them. That's why fantasy books get really big, really fast, when you have so many characters. I actually, in my book, I have 2 point of view characters, both from first person, and I had to do this with both of them. And it is really hard. It is really hard to do that. Okay. So step 4, evaluate. We are going to look at our numbers here. This is the order that assigned to them. We're going to evaluate them, and then we're going to take a look at this. So most plotting systems have these things in common. Most of them kind of agree that there are these elements in the story, right? We usually have the hook, which is the introduction, something that happens that's different from usual. We have the point of no return, or the break into Act 2, where it's kind of, they step into a doorway, they can never go back to the way their life was. Then we have the midpoint, which surprisingly is in the middle, but this midpoint is actually one of the most important points of all of them. Then we have a crisis, something that's terrible, almost like a moment of, I can't remember what Sacred Cat calls it, dark night of the soul or something like that. And then we have the climax, the big finale at the end. So all of them kind of have this in common. So what we're going to do is assign climax, hook, midpoint to those numbers. So most intense, number 1, the one that you marked number 1 should be the climax. The climax should be the most intense scene in the book. The number 2 should be the hook, which happens at the very beginning of the book. Something that tore them out of their lives, they can never go back, something shocking, something that the reader really wants to be hooked on. Number 3 is the midpoint. And we're going to combine the midpoint, number 3, with an emotional, facing the weakness, fundamental weakness to a mind moment. You must combine it at the midpoint, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then the point of no return and the crisis, those can duke it out for 4th and 5th place. So you're going to look at those and look at number 4, number 5, maybe number 6, and figure out which one would appropriately occur before the other. So this is kind of where the magic happens. It may not necessarily work out chronologically. So what we're going to do is we're going to rearrange it accordingly. So now that you have your most important scenes, we're going to try and make this work. So in Numbers game, the hook, she gets a low rating instead of the one she earned. That just happened to work out, because that happens at the beginning of the book. The point of no return, she's offered a second chance to have to spy in the military. That's kind of the doorway that she enters that she can never go back. Either she's going to find a spy, or she's going to be sent to the outlands as a slave to the military book. Midpoint, someone tries to kill her, making her question her motives and her plan. It shakes her up. It faces her emotional weakness, her struggle. Crisis, she must face her fear of heights and jump out of a chopper before it gets shot down. She's got to face the question, things look terrible. She almost loses her life, dark moment of the soul type of moment. And then the climax, she realizes the reason behind her rating and who's trying to kill her, and you have a big revelation and a twist happening there. That's the biggest moment of the book. Any questions about this? No? Okay, so do they fit? Look at them, see what can be tweaked. Basically, it gets you started. Probably about 80% of it will make sense chronologically, some of it might not. But if you have 2 scenes that are similar in intensity, that's okay. Are there scenes missing? Is there something missing between all of these that could make it more strong, that could make it make sense? And then also address that midpoint. Is it a good mirror moment to the climax? You want it to be, I think James Scott Bell calls the midpoint a tent pole scene or something like that. Something that holds up the entire book. And it's almost the point where the story starts over and then goes backwards from the beginning. It's like a mirror moment to the whole story and a mirror moment for the character to look at themselves. Does that make sense? They're addressing a huge plot point and they're addressing their inner emotional struggle at the same time. So those need to go together. And then, did I address the internal conflict, weakness of the character as well as the outward fault? So the midpoint is a good place to do that, but also the climax they need to accomplish and conquer their emotional struggle before the climax. They need to have conquered it and used whatever tool they learned to defeat whatever it is that's stopping them. So, for those of you who are discovery writers, you can stop there if you want. That's fine. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel like that's enough to get me started and I don't want to be too structured because I want to be able to discover what's in between. If you're an outliner and you want to keep going, you can. What you can do is basically look at each event and say what needs to happen between that scene and the scene to connect the two, if that will make sense. If you have 5 or 6 things, that'll likely be several chapters at least of things that need to happen. And that's where you can start thinking of subplots and start thinking of the B story and other characters and romance and stuff like that can enhance what you've already got down. Because what we're doing is we're focusing on the most important things so that those are in place and then filling in everything else. Any questions on that? Okay. So this is the summary of what we've just done. We've got the logline, we've got the brainstorming, and then we check which one's the most important, and then we evaluate. So we try and figure out the order of it, and then rearrange, try and make sure that it all works, and then we're going to fill in the gaps if we want to, with a more detailed outline of what happens in the questions on that? This can take 30 minutes. It could take you longer, especially if you have a partner and you get talking and really get things going. And that's not the worst thing that can happen in the world. That's great. That's a good sign. So now we're going to practice. We're going to have some fun with this. We have 20 minutes. We're going to see if we can come up with a few stories. So I need a scribe. Oh, sorry, did you have a question?
What do you do if you put your events that they're not at all chronological?
That they're not at all chronological? At that point, I would try and figure out what the chronological order would be, and then think, how can I make this scene more intense and this scene more intense? How can I make the climax the biggest moment in the book rather than the third? Or how can I make the midpoint be more powerful than it is now? Does that make sense? Yeah.
It might also be a good opportunity to play around with different structures, maybe start at the end and the beginning, or like, play around with different structural models.
It's true, and very, very often, the end is the hardest part for me to figure out. And often I don't even know what the end is going to be, but it can be really generic. It can be the moment where they defeat this person. It doesn't have to be specific. It probably actually won't be yet, because we haven't figured out everything with the character. Does that make sense? Any other questions before we play around? Yeah?
I may have missed something. Your climax is most intense, then both, then midpoint. Numbers 4 and 5. Does it matter which is which?
They can do that for, yeah, which I think is better. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to follow this. And we're going to have some fun with the story. So I need a scribe who can just write down some things. And you guys are going to help me brainstorm. We're going to have a giant brainstorming session right now. We're going to have fun with this.
Quick question, who's got the clipboard for the email letter thing?
Right here.
Did it go around the room?
No. It's only good enough for you guys to say.
Thank you for passing that around. Okay, so we need some characters. We need a character, an interesting character. What genre should we do? Let's start with that. What do you guys want to do?
Fantasy.
Fantasy?
Sci-fi.
Fantasy? Let's start with fantasy. I think we'll be able to do more than one. So fantasy, we need a character in the fantasy world.
A blacksmith.
A blacksmith, okay. Boy or girl?
The girl blacksmith.
A girl blacksmith. That would be interesting. Okay, how old is a blacksmith? 18. A little older. 30. I've got 18 and 30. You guys want 18 or 30?
18. 22.
Let's go with 22. Okay, so 22-year-old female blacksmith in the fantasy world.
I like that idea. He said that she wants to be a blacksmith, but they won't let her.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
What's that?
Okay, so she wants to be a blacksmith, but they won't let her.
She could be an apprentice.
Okay. So what is it about her that makes her want to be a blacksmith so bad? What is in her past that makes her cling to
Her father was a blacksmith. Her mom never got her dream.
Blacksmith, when you're a blacksmith, you can make metal objects that protect you from magical creatures, and she wants to be part of that effort to protect you.
Nice, that deserves it. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, that's really fun. So there's an underground movement going on with magical tools, and she wants to be a part of that, but she can't because why?
She only has one arm.
The kingdom is sexist.
All like that.
So maybe all the magical tool building stuff is going on with a bunch of men? Yeah, I can see that. That's kind of overdone. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's like a class thing, like she's too highborn for it or something. And like her parents want to groom her for some other job.
Okay, that could work. So maybe she's in the noble class, and this is an underground thing, and her parents would not be able to get with it. With her being a female blacksmith, magical tool to meet her. Okay, so that's the beginning of the story. We can have that as our log line. But also, I want to make sure that we have what the emotional struggle is for her. So she really wants to be a part of this movement because why? Let's dig a little deeper. What is it that is the emotional need for her that she has to join this group?
My mother was killed by a magical creature.
Yeah, and she wants revenge.
Okay,
Her father was an elf.
She wants revenge because her father or mother was killed? Mother? Okay. So her father's not okay with her seeking revenge, but she wants to. So that's a fun log line, right? That took us, what, 5 minutes?
Her dad's trying to protect her.
Exactly.
Okay.
Maybe-
Overprotective daddy.
Yeah.
As they do. Those fathers always get in the way. Okay, so now we're going to brainstorm a bunch of things that can happen on her journey. So you guys can just shout out some things that can happen to her as she's trying to hide the secret life from her father, and she's trying to break into this group of men, as she wants to take revenge for her mother's death. You guys think of some things that could happen?
People are hoarding metal.
Okay, I didn't hear that, sorry.
People are hoarding metal because it's in short supply. It's like, find out.
Okay,
Like a
yeah.
special type of metal.
Special type of metal, okay.
She could make friends with one of these beasts.
She could make friends
With one of the beasts that she's trying to that she
Okay.
thinks are evil.
One of the beasts attacks her home, and her father is the secret's out.
Okay, so he finds out, other people find out what she's doing. Yeah, that's a good plot point.
Explosion.
She finds out the truth of her mother's
An
death.
explosion. Ooh, so twist. That could be fun.
Maybe her father arranged for the mother to be killed.
Because maybe the mother was the friend of the magical.
So magical conspiracy. I like it.
Or a stepmother had her killed by one of the creatures. Evil stepmother chasing the
The evil stepmother is actually a demon and has stepped in and wants her son to rule the kingdom.
Okay,
They're all
that could be interesting. I like this. So you guys are thinking,
You have to go swimming in a magical lake in order to be able to work with magical metals, and someone's gonna notice that she's not a man.
No, male wasn't the issue, there's no more burden.
okay, no
So female isn't the problem. But they may notice something if she's swimming naked in the pool.
Like some kind of birthmark that the entire line has.
Okay, there's birthmarks. Okay. Yeah.
And she has to get out of the house after her father finds out, and then she has to learn how to live by herself.
Okay. She has to learn how to do it on her own without. Is that what you're saying? Without help. Okay. Yeah. So you guys have mentioned probably 10 things. So we want to go even deeper. So the things that you're thinking of are great. Think of things that have never been done before. What's something that does not ring true necessarily to the genre? Something that could be a little original. Something you've never seen before.
An underground temple.
An underground temple could be cool. Yeah, it doesn't have to be an event. It can be something unique on the setting in correlation with the scene.
Sorry, what part are we trying to come up with? Sorry.
So we thought of maybe 10 things. We want 15 to 20. So this is the point where it gets a little more tricky because we want to think a little deeper
Did you have like, maybe the creatures that they're fighting against are also building a really big machine of some kind?
Okay. And their intent is to take over, wipe out the Hebrew city or something? Okay, yeah.
Maybe the creatures are trying to immunize themselves so the metal charms won't work as much against them.
Okay. So she could discover that the charms may not even work the way they're supposed to, and she's got to figure out a way to stop that from happening. That could be a cool moment. This is good. You guys are digging deeper. Yeah.
The alloy or the part of the metal why it's so scarce is that it has to be created by one of these creatures willingly.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
Maybe what the creatures are building underground is a portal that allows them to come into the human realm faster than the humans can counter them.
Okay, that could be interesting.
Okay, something that just hit me building off his idea that the metal has to be created by one of these creatures willingly. What if one of the creatures actually turned coat and became part of this underground resistance that she's a part of in order to help them?
Ideally, that character would be a love interest. Right? That would be cool.
That one is a plan.
Ooh,
Traitor.
interesting.
Okay, weird twist, maybe the demons that we're trying to fight, or the creatures or whatever, we end up figuring out. It's us as we pass on, it's the humans as they pass on. They've forgotten all their human self. And then there's the conflict of, can we actually kill them, or is there some kind of mediation?
Interesting. Did you guys hear that? That was interesting. Just 1 second. He's saying there could be a moral conflict there because she discovers that the creature she's trying to destroy are actually used to which we see sometimes in Brandon's Sorry, somebody back here had that.
They don't know it, but in some way their kingdom actually depends on these magical creatures, and if they succeed in wiping them out, the kingdom will fall somehow.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that too. Like there's a greater threat out there that the creatures are protecting them from, unbeknownst to them. And even though the creatures are killing them, they're not killing them like as thoroughly as this other people.
Or as he.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only reason that the creatures are killing humans is because humans are hunting them.
Yep, okay.
If these creatures are the dead humans, then her mother's gonna be one of them.
That's true.
She'll have to destroy her mother.
That's true. And that would definitely hit on her emotional struggle, right? Yes.
I'm backing away from the dead humans bit, and kind of going along the same lines, that she's actually a half-breed. Her mother was one of them and was killed off, and the baby was stolen away from them. And so the creatures are attacking because they know somewhere is one of their own and it's been taken from them. And so she's grown up among the humans, and so she just thinks that that's her family. So it's this mystery that she's got to uncover, and neither side really deserves to die because both sides have done kind of terrible things to each other out of misunderstandings.
So she would definitely have a deep dark secret she doesn't want anyone to find out, right? Yeah.
In order to protect them, she has to become one of them, but she's got to find a way to keep her memories. If she doesn't, she has to die.
That could be interesting too. Almost like the zombie thing. That would be kind of interesting. Lots of drawing and I like this. Okay, so, sorry.
Maybe she loses a hand in a forging accident. Has to learn how to forge with one hand.
Yeah, somebody else mentioned that too. She doesn't have a hand. Excuse me. Which would be hard to be a blacksmith. Yeah.
And she meets somebody that creates a mechanical hand and falls in love with him.
I like that. We gotta have romance in this summer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so out of those, what scenes could be the most intense? Excuse me.
The scene when she figures out the secret of what the creatures are and her relationship to them.
Okay, so she figures out who the monsters really are and finds out her relationship to them. Is that a powerful moment? Does it touch on her emotional struggle and a plot point? So that could be a potential move point, right? Okay, what other intense scenes could there be?
Losing your hand, just keep mentioning that, Rex agrees.
Yep, that's true. That would be hard.
Not when midpoint.
That's true. You could attach those two for sure. What else?
If her opponent's attack her father's killed or something, that would probably be the hook.
If her father was killed and they attack, that could be an interesting hook. That's true.
But that would take away the conflict of that he didn't want her to be a blacksmith.
It would. Yep. And some of the things that you brainstorm will be contradictory like that.
Well, if you have it happen after he tells her no, and then have them like the classic, like have them be in an argument and then get dice, so that's more of a motivation because they were just arguing.
That's true. And I do want to steer you away from thinking what can be the climax and what can be the midpoint. What we want to do is just brainstorm and then see what is the most intense. And then we'll assign those later. So which scenes are the most intense? You can kind of make sure that they're touching on the emotional thing also, but we'll wait just a little bit to assign them because something that like that could be an interesting hook could also be an interesting climax. Yeah.
Right, this is a question. So maybe it's just the setup since there's like 50 people like brainstorming one idea and probably, we write 50 different stories based off this one log line. So do you find that after the brainstorming you kind of need to decide where you want the story to go? Because we have a whole bunch of different like who the creatures are they good or bad, what's the secret. So do you have to kind of like do that first before you rank them, or is it just the setup here and otherwise when you're doing it just individually with a partner that it usually kind of sticks around the same story?
That's a really good question. I think so far when I've done this, we were able to focus it before we found the most intense scenes. If you can't decide between two things, that's where a partner also comes in handy, because you can say, what do you think is more interesting, this story or that? And you can go from there. A critique group is awesome for that. They can say, oh, that would be cool. If you see that light in their eyes, oh, that would be so interesting, you've hit on something that's cool. Good question. Anything else? Okay. So once you've got your most intense scenes, you're going to evaluate them, you're going to number them, you're going to rearrange them. You're going to figure out where they fit and try and make them fit. And if you want to, you can take it a little farther and you can fill in the gaps. So you guys can see how fun this can be, right?
Yes.
Right? Yes. This is a great method and it's very open and it's encouraging creativity rather than restricting us to a box. So we have 6 minutes. Do you guys want to ask questions or do you want to try another story or what would you like to do? Or do you want to
Let's go for a sci-fi.
You want to try sci-fi?
Yeah.
Sci-fi.
Really fast? Is that what you're going
I
to
was
do?
just going to ask you, so you've used this on how many books now? This is.
Okay, so I've used this system on the 3 books in my series, and I'm doing this right now on the first book in another series, which is a sci-fi series. Yeah. And do you stick with your outline? Hardly ever.
That was my next question.
Yeah. But you know what? Honestly, I don't think even Brandon Sanderson sticks completely. He's a dead set outliner. The funny thing about this is you're getting so much further than you would have been if you sat down and started with the chapter. Does that make sense? And it kind of keeps you more focused on the powerful moments. And sometimes I might actually reach a powerful moment and think, you know what, I can take this so much further than I was going to. And I do. And then that kind of changes the ones that follow, but it's so much more powerful. But at least I got started. Yeah.
And since you mentioned Sanderson a couple of times, he's even said that the outline isn't there to be your strict Bible for what you're writing. It's to get you started in moving. If you come across something later on that breaks your outline, but is more awesome, do the more awesome thing.
And he uses that word too. Awesome. Yeah.
Do you find yourself ever going back to some of those other ones that you brainstorm ideas that you skipped later and you add them in as secondary points or figure out a way to replace your outline with pieces of that?
Yeah, I have actually. You can't fit, thank you, you can't fit everything in the first book. And that's the good thing about trilogies, is that you can use previous ideas that were powerful moments and awesome, but you just could not fit them in the first book.
That's what happened with Star Wars.
Yeah, probably. So any other questions? We have 5 minutes left, I'm told. So we can do sci-fi really fast. Let's do a guy character this time. Yeah.
He's an alien.
He's an alien, okay? what is his emotional struggle? His inner struggle? Let's start with that. It's easier to start there. Yeah.
He's got two heads that can't get along.
So we're going for comedy, yeah?
He's got two heads that can't get along. Yeah, so we're not as dramatic in So are they both men or women or one of each? Both men, that's probably easier. Okay, so you could do like a space opera comedy. That would be really fun actually with the story. So what are some things that could, or what is it that they want? What's it? They can't exactly cut this guy in half, so they've got to figure out something.
Yeah, one's an introvert, who wants to stay in and play games. The other one's an extrovert, who wants to go out and party every night. Yeah.
Okay. Two sides of the person worrying with themselves. Okay. This could be really tough to write, but really interesting too.
Especially if there's a love interest.
Yeah.
And you guys can pass it.
Yeah.
One of the ones, the introverted one wants to become a space monk, and the extroverted one wants to become president.
Okay. That could be interesting for sure. So you would actually, if they both are on the same body, that's their struggle, part of their struggle. You'd also need to do this with each of them individually, because they're two different characters. And they both have different things that they want, and they would probably have a different character journey. So that would be tricky, because you are plotting to hit all of those things for both of them. I don't think I will ever take this kind of project on, but it's possible. So some intense things that could happen to them, we have 2 minutes left. What are some intense things that could happen to two people who don't agree on what they want to be? Yeah.
They're each plotting to murder the other.
Do they have 2 hearts? Because that could be really difficult. Anything else? Amputation.
Somehow they get separated, only to realize that they miss the other one.
Oh, that's
Did you guys, something could happen, endanger both of their goals. And they both then have to work together.
They have to work together.
This, whatever.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that could be interesting. So oh, sorry.
They find a girl, or one of them.
They're both in love with the same girl. That could be interesting. So,
Or worse.
or worse.
Only one of them is the other hates her.
That's true. And she only likes one of them.
And the other one is the Cyrano.
What's that?
Cyrano the Bergerac.
Handsome, and the other is the Cyrano.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be interesting too. All right, so we've had a lot of fun with this. You guys kind of see where this can go. If you have questions, feel